Hi, I'm Josh. I work here at the Logos Institute at the University of St Andrews. It's been more than 10 years since I started university, but I still look back on how those 3 years at university really shaped the person I am now. There I made some of my closest relationships. I formed new ideas about the world and who I was. And importantly, those years really shaped how I thought about my faith and how I related to God. For many of us, university is an incredibly formative time where many of our safety blankets are removed. Dinner's no longer on the table for us when we get home. Your washing starts to pile up very quickly. And actually a lot of the safety blankets that we use to surround our faith quickly disappear. We're suddenly faced with a world of difference. People from both within and outside the church who think and relate to God differently than we do, whether that's course mates, flatmates, lecturers, people in church. We're suddenly confronted with a world of different ideas and new perspectives. And we're forced to ask, what kind of person will you become? How will you let other ideas shape you? Whose voice will you listen to? These are the questions that at some point in our lives we all have to ask. But at university, these questions are forced upon us, and we have to make decisions quickly and under pressure. A memory that vividly sticks in my head was hanging out with friends in my university dorm in the first year, having a few beers, and then perhaps at like 2 o'clock in the morning, this complete stranger suddenly announced that she knew how to cut hair and that my hair was looking a bit shabby. So I was sat there and this complete stranger was cutting my hair. I was unable to move because if I did, I'd walk away with really terrible looking hair, even more terrible than before. And suddenly the conversation led to my faith and what I believed. And she told me she couldn't really understand why anybody would pray to an imaginary friend or go to church on a Sunday or read a book which had no relevance to our life. And because I couldn't move, I was suddenly confronted with the fact that this was a perspective that I had to engage with. I had to take seriously. These were questions I had to answer. It's in moments like these that we're really forced to think about what it is that we believe and why we believe it. And this can be an incredibly painful process. We don't always know why we believe what we believe. Often we believe things because that's what our parents taught us. That's the situation that we find ourselves in. But it's actually in confronting these ideas, our own ideas alongside the ideas of people who think differently, that our faith and our understanding of who God is and who the world is can deepen. And our perspective can broaden. And that's a really good thing, as difficult as it can be. And it's not just that those conversations in which we're confronted with difference challenge us, often they encourage us. I look back on those moments, those conversations that I had over many long nights in my first 3 years at university, as moments in which I became encouraged and challenged and stimulated to know just what it was that I was living for, and just who it was that I was living for. I spend most of my working life thinking about writing and reading theology and philosophy and engaging with some of the world's leading thinkers in these areas. And so I thought I would open this conversation up, invite you to come and listen to some of these conversations. So I'm going to be talking to some academics in theology and biblical studies and philosophy. I'm going to ask them some questions, and hopefully these will kickstart some discussions of your own. The point is not to provide you with a detailed overview of everything that's being said on a topic. This is not an introduction to everything theological, and it's not an introduction to all the topics that theologians might think about, nor is this an academic lecture. This is a conversation, and this is a conversation that you're invited to take part in, and a conversation that you're invited to continue and discuss in your own context. Feel free to disagree with what's been said. In fact, I would encourage you to disagree with what's been said. Theology is about thinking critically and thinking before God. And so it's important to ask questions, to start discussions, to start this exploration for yourself. Not just to listen and to take in and to believe everything you hear, but to engage with theology. Whoever you are, wherever you're at in your journey of faith, we want to encourage you that you can engage with theology. We hope that these sessions will raise your confidence for thinking theologically about these questions, and more importantly, to understand and communicate your own faith and how you relate to God and others. University is a unique time to explore new ideas, to ask big questions, and to learn from different perspectives. So I'm inviting you to come along and be part of this conversation as we begin to engage theology.